Welcome to the podcast.
歡迎收聽
요거서 팟캐스트에
به پادکست ما خوش آمد.
مقیم با این پادکست 欢迎来到我们的播客
Benvenuti sul podcast.
Common Fun Podcast.
日本から konnichiwa
Buongiorno dall'Italia.
你好嚟自香港
Hello from Europe.
Hallo aus Deutschland.
שלום מישראל
Okay, hello world culture enthusiasts and anyone who's listening. This is Crossing Cultures, a podcast where guests from all over the world talk about subtle, surprising, intriguing, and bizarre cultural differences in everyday life. My name is Asaf, and I'm delighted to open the very first podcast with these wonderful guests representing 4 different continents. Let's start with Sebastian.
I'm from Uruguay. I do act. I study acting, and I drink mate all day, every day.
We're going to talk about that, yeah.
Before doing sports, before everything, and I love to share it. So if you want a zip, you can. I know you don't like because it's alive and things like that, but I don't care. So if you want, it's all fine. And thank you for inviting.
Thank you for being here. All right, we'll hop over to Europe.
Yeah, so
Everybody's favorite cuisine.
my name is Chiaretta. I'm from Italy. I'm a PhD student in Tel Aviv University on international human rights, and I like cultures and multiculturalism.
Thank you very much. All right, back over to the other side of the Atlantic. And we have Sarah.
Yes, hi guys, I'm Sarah. I'm excited to be here on this podcast. And yeah, I represent the United States, specifically New York. So I have lots to say about drinking culture and all of that fun stuff. And yeah, we're going to talk about it today.
All right, now representing the big dragon and the biggest continent.
Hi, this is Noah speaking. I know Noah is an Israeli name that might be a bit confusing, but I am actually 100% Chinese. I think I have confirmed with both my parents. I have been living in Israel for a little bit over 3 years, hitting 4 years in this October. I actually went to the same school. I also finished my Tel Aviv U study last summer and been working in high tech, the most common job that you can find in Israel.
And where are you from in China originally?
I'm from Beijing, so let's say I can only represent the Beijingese, which I hope that's not too. I hope that's representative enough because China is a huge country, and also you introduced me as someone from Asia. I was like, woo, that's a bit.
No pressure. You represent yourself, and that'll be enough. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, cool.
All right, so it's time to talk about our main topic, and today we're talking about drinking culture. And what is drinking culture, you ask? Well, it's everything you drink in the morning or in the evening. It's coffee, it's tea, it's mate, as we've seen. And if we have time, we'll go over to the spirits and some alcohol and talk about that. So let's start with you. Let's start with Sarah. Are you a coffee person, a tea person, both, none?
I'm a nothing person. No caffeine, no nothing bad for me in the morning.
So what are you drinking instead then?
So I drink water.
Like bottled water?
No, I'll have maybe some hot water with mint and ginger and lemon, but that's it. And it's causing quite a stir in the world because people drink things in the morning.
And I think coffee is the number one drug that people consume. So you're out of that loop.
I know, I'm really weird in this sense. I try not to drink caffeine because it makes me too awake and hyper. But yeah, no, it's a complete cultural thing in the States. You get a coffee in the morning. You get coffee when you land at work. You get coffee when you wake up on the weekend. And I'm just like, I'm out of the
Is it common to get coffee when you come back from work? Or is it just like a morning thing, part of your daily ritual to get ready for work?
It's a big thing to start off your day. Yeah. In my old office, we had a barista in the office.
That was in New York?
Yes, in New York. It was one of those fancy places. Yeah, so it was a community thing. We would all, my friends and I from the office would get a coffee from, what was his name? Ernest. I'll forever remember his name. The barista. And back then I did actually drink coffee. Since then I've stopped, but it was, it really brings people together to sort of have a coffee and sit together and you kibitz over coffee. That's what you do.
I guess. You know, I remember. I think if in the U.S. the coffee is more of a getting ready to work thing. So my imagination tells me that in Italy it's more of a ceremonial thing. You drink coffee because it's
a pleasure.
It's a pleasure, yeah.
So, for example, in Italy, we use coffee as a break and as a way to meet people. So it's just we go to bars. We don't have cafe. We have bars. And we drink coffee like 5 minutes. We need to drink really fast, so we don't wait for it. And then we stay maybe all afternoon at the bar speaking, but the coffee need to be drank. Really
And what kind of coffee is it?
Espresso.
Has to be
Cappuccino,
okay.
but espresso is the best.
Okay, so if I go to Italy, ordering anything that isn't cappuccino or espresso, is that frowned upon?
They will understand that you're a tourist,
I
probably.
see. All right, that's good to know. All right, Sebastian, tell us about coffee culture in Uruguay.
Okay, so coffee is something that we drink. People drink. People like it. They drink it when they wake up, when they go to work. But the thing is that the coffee is not that drinked as the other countries, because we have the mate.
Mm-hmm.
And mate is something that really is with us all day long. It's like you put it between your arms and you walk everywhere like this, and you give your child or children, and you give your friends, and you meet around the mate. So it's like the it's also as you in Italia you drink coffee as a ceremony. It's almost the same. So families drink it to talk about their lives. How was your day? And they also say that if you drink mate with girls, you can fall in love, or things like
That's
that.
because of the caffeine. Yeah.
Maybe.
So, but if everyone brings their own mate, how is it? You know, do you go to a place where they serve it, or you just bring your own, sit in the park?
No, that's a very, very, very good idea to drink it like to go to a restaurant or a coffee shop and they give you mate, but it doesn't happen. So you have your own,
mm-hmm.
and you talk with your friends, and they say, who brings the mate? I bring the mate. Oh, I also bring mate. So you have two glasses like this doing circles. It's something circular. And then there's a lot of types of ceremonies. So there's this like how do I say, like this guru or this like sensei who serves it,
mm-hmm.
and you pass it to the right, and then he gives you back, and you then you serve it again, and you give it to the next person, and it's like that. And there's all kind of like mate. There's also bitter ones, sweeter ones.
You drink it normally without sugar.
I drink it without anything because it's very healthy. It has caffeine, but it's healthy. Like it's antioxidant, anti-everything.
Anti-everything bad.
Makes you go to the toilet, and it's very nice.
And usually, I mean, I'm looking at the cup. It's a very unique cup. It's not just a regular coffee mug, right? And sometimes they make it out of pumpkin.
Exactly.
Right? How is it? There's a name for it, I think, no? Or for the straw. There's a special straw that
yes,
you use.
So you make it from pumpkin, and you need to put whiskey or something to cure it, like to make it fine, to make it available to drink it. And this is the bombilla,
mm-hmm.
la bombilla. So it's like a straw, but it's like from metal or I don't know what. And yes, you share it, and it's not like one time straw.
And you don't move the straw, right? I remember I moved the straw when I was in Argentina, and it was a bad idea.
Yeah, so people like they don't understand, and they grab the straw and they move it, and they do like a meñadito, like a shake. And I'm like, no, respect the mountain, because you put the yerba, that it's like the mate, like the tea. You put it and you make like a little mountain, so you have like a swimming pool where you put the.
So it's very even the preparation. It's very. Is it the same in China? Because I know in Japan they have a whole ceremony around the tea, but I'm assuming a lot of the things that we call Japanese actually came from China. Is it the same thing?
I was about to say that everything you describe now like reminds me of like a wheat culture. You know, you pass around and there's a ritual.
That's another episode.
Yeah, so let's skip that part. So for day-to-day like life in China, we actually don't have that kind of crazy, you know, like ceremony for tea, and also not in Japan. That's only for, you know, very specific like cultural occasions. In China, I think if we're back to the topic of coffee, coffee is not originally a thing in China. Like it was brought by the Westerners, but now it's began to become the part of like, you know, like I would call the salaryman or salarywoman. People will work in 9 to 5 life, and they drink it. Part of the reason is they want to wake themselves up because we get food coma a lot because we also eat a lot of carb in lunch, which is very common. And also we have the napping culture in China at work, at school, which also you might want to put in a different episode. But so people now like try to get some caffeine through coffee or strong tea, or also it's for the people who want to, you know, like embrace the Western culture, want to like feel like they're living in a lifestyle. So that's why Starbucks is very common in China and doing very well.
Really?
Yeah.
So let me ask all of you, how, I mean, I know in the US when you wake up in the morning and you go, especially in New York, you go down to the subway, you see people taking their coffee to go. People are taking coffee on the go. Sometimes they sit down and drink coffee, or if they work from Starbucks. But for other people, it's very common to see people going around with their coffee. And I don't know if it's the same thing in China. In Italy, you're shaking your head.
No.
That's blasphemous.
Yeah, actually it is. No, it's arriving really late because of the American culture, but it's something that it's like terrifying Italian, because it's, as I said, like we go to bar, it's a way to spend some minutes without thinking about anything. So we go to the bar, we stand, we drink, or we sit at the table, and that's it. So it's our 5 minutes of break.
And is it common? I think I've heard it's common in Italy that there's bar where you don't sit down, you just stand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's common.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's really rare that you can see people with the mug walking.
And do you make coffee at home? Is it?
Yeah, with the Moka.
Oh, with the Moka, of
Yeah,
course,
sure.
but not like the instant coffee. That
No,
never happens.
oh my God, no.
And in Uruguay?
Yes, you can see people walking like in the Ciudad Vieja, in the old city, because they are working there. All the offices are there, and the people, you see people with suits walking fastly, drinking instant coffee. You know.
And so it's not the mate isn't a substitute. Even though you carry it around, there's a time for the coffee and the time for the mate.
Yes, people also like coffee because it's even stronger and it's more like instantaneous thing. You know, the mate also you need to carry it, but it's like they don't care to carry too much. But maybe they have the mate in their office, and when they walk to one place for another after eating, they drink the coffee.
All right, and let me ask you: is there a difference between the mate in Uruguay and in Argentina, or it's pretty much the same brand?
It's there's full of brands, of different brands. So in Uruguay, maybe the Yerba it's a little bit thinner, and in Argentina it's more like bland. And it's different.
The grind, it's less. It's grounded. It's more coarse in Argentina.
Yes, exactly. But it's also in Paraguay they drink it. In Chile they drink it. I think it comes actually from Paraguay, and then when the Spanish people came to discover South America or America, they started to commercialize it. You know, and now all the colons that live in Uruguay, we drink it. And
so it has pre-Hispanic origins.
Yes,
I see.
Yes, and the Spanish people saw that the Guaranis were drinking all day long, you know, and they were like doing things better, you know, like hunting better. I don't know, everything.
It
better.
wakes you up.
Yes, but sleeping, I don't know how
you need less of it, I guess.
Yes.
But Chiaretta, I really want to ask something. Yeah. What's the deal with Affogato? Like, when do you drink it? First of all, explain what it is.
Okay, Affogato is ice cream, normally vanilla or Stracciatella, that is vanilla and chocolate chips, and after the espresso. So then everything is melting and it's super delicious. And we normally eat it like after lunch or as a
Dessert?
In the afternoon, yeah.
Mhm.
When you are with friends, like you can normally order like affogato.
Because the first time you see it, it's kind of weird. It's ice cream and coffee. You know, is it a dessert?
But
Is it a
then
drink?
it's super
It is
delicious.
good. It's delicious.
Or the opposite is the espresso with the scoop of
Macchiato.
no,
No?
it's we call it Café con Pallina di Gelato.
Ah.
That sounds fancy.
All right. So Sarah, you tell me now, what's the deal with cold brew? Because last time I was in the States, I saw cold brew everywhere.
You're asking the wrong person. I'm not a coffee drinker.
But is it a fad? Was it always so common?
I don't think so. It's always something that they have. There's cold brew and then there's iced coffee. They're different.
Yes. So what's the difference?
I have no idea.
All right. I think
I was
iced coffee
explained
is.
this.
I think I'm not sure, and if somebody knows the answer, I'll be glad to be corrected. I think iced coffee is when you just make coffee and then you cool it down, and cold brew is when you put the coffee overnight and you let the water become caffeinated, and then that's the coffee you drink. And you never use boiling water for cold brew. I think
you're right. But it changes so much. Like it changes the caffeine content and it changes the taste and the health benefits, which is like, I don't know what happened to just coffee. It's New Yorkers. They're crazy.
I guess. Well, no. Let me ask you this. I mean, in Chinese cuisine, there's very little dairy, right? There's very little milk and cheese. So how about how is that entering the Chinese coffee culture, or is it absolutely not?
So I think it might sound a bit weird, the sentence I'm going to say it. I think coffee a lot of time is considered part of a dessert. Because first of all, like most Chinese like to have their coffee with milk and sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of time coffee also is considered as another option as the bubble tea or milk tea, which probably like we want to talk about it later when we're talking about tea culture. Bubble tea is becoming a huge part of the young generation now. They just drink it every day. There's like a million of variation.
What is bubble tea?
So bubble tea, like literally, is tea with bubble. And the tea is usually a tea. It can be like green tea, it can be like black tea, usually coming with like milk or actually powdered milk. And you put all sorts of different things in it. It can be, like bubble, it can be tapioca, it can be even pudding, it can be all sorts of things that you probably have no idea what it is.
I have no idea. But
You never had this, Asaf?
I think, are we talking about the tea that has like gelatinous balls? Or it's not like soda, right?
No, that's the like kind of the earliest version
Okay,
of it. Like, we have kind of like evolved into different generation.
So that's the thing that's happening now in China. Is
yeah,
the
they
bubble
even
tea?
like come with a huge like a chunk of foam on the top, so you will be less healthy, but more tasty for sure. But like if it's coffee, there's a lot of like coffee dessert, like have you been to like? Have you ever had like that? It's called Frappuccino in Starbucks. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have the coffee one, and this is sort of like coffee in a lot of like Chinese people.
But it's so sugary. It's basically a dessert.
But it feels like like coffee, so you feel sophisticated by drinking that, but also it's tasty at the same time. So I would say like I probably don't see a lot of people drink coffee without milk or anything that make it like more
Tastier.
tastier or not that bitter. So it's probably very different from the rest of the world, I feel.
I see. So it's basically you're saying that in China there's a really strong coffee culture, but there's also a tea culture which has historical roots, but now it's kind of evolved into this bubble tea thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is that's interesting. And do you guys know what Americano is? Or at least in Israel we call it Americano.
Of course. Yes.
Oh yeah, okay. I was looking at you, especially Chiaretta, because I thought you'd make that face.
She's like, it's disgraceful.
So at least I know it as just having coffee with nothing, just water and coffee. And a lot of water.
No ice?
It
No.
can be ice.
Well, you can serve it with. Okay, you can add whatever you want, but they serve it just with just a cup of warm water with coffee. I have no idea. First of all, it's called Americano, but I don't know. It's like an Italian name for an American coffee. I don't even know where it's from. Have you? Is it?
Oh, my father asked once an espresso here in Israel, and they say short or long. I say, let's try long because you're short. It's really short, and then they gave this huge cup of water, and my father was like, what is that? This is neither coffee. And so I don't know, honestly. I really don't know. I don't have an answer.
I think it comes from, or at least I have this idea. Well, like in the US, maybe not in New York, but you have like people who serve coffee like in the pots, the potted coffee, and I think it kind of looks the same, even though it's not the same. Because I mean, when you go to like a little diner in one of those flyover states, they serve you coffee in like this big cup.
Like
they
in the
keep
American
refilling
movies.
them. Yeah, exactly. They keep refilling the cup.
Oh, we still have it in New York.
Really?
Oh yeah.
All right. So let me say, I'll say a quote, because this is, I think, a really good transition to the next topic. Lord, give me coffee to change what I can, and wine to accept what I can't.
Oh, this is good.
And I remember I'm not a big wine drinker, but I have this very specific memory actually from Italy. And I went to Venice, and I saw a man fully dressed in 8 a.m., and he was drinking a cup of wine, of a white wine, just like instead of the coffee. It was just 8 a.m. in the morning. Everybody was off to work. He was probably heading to work, the way he was dressed, but he was still holding a glass of wine and drank it really slowly, like
It's
you
the
would.
style.
Of course, of course. So we're moving into the alcohol realm. So what's the alcohol of choice where you're from?
Well, if I can speak about Italy, it depends the time in the day. So we have aperitif, then we have lunch, after lunch, and then parties and the evening. So aperitif, you need to drink something that is like wake you up. And then we have a Mazza Café that is alcohol, and it's like a coffee killer. And you drink it because you want to remove the taste of coffee from your mouth. And then you have obviously the alcohol that you drink for parties or for the evening, just for like pleasure and fun.
Which is?
Oh, we have like cocktails like mojito or sex on the beach.
So you don't see people like tailgating and drinking grappa all the time?
No, this is after lunch. This is the Mazza Café or Pusa Café, depending in which region you are in Italy. And they can be grappa or,
And in Uruguay, the alcohol of choice?
The alcohol of choice in Uruguay is whiskey.
Whiskey.
Everybody drink whiskey.
That really surprised me. I didn't know. The big whiskey drinkers in
yes.
Uruguay.
So I think, like in proportion, we are like the first country, like we drink more whiskey from everybody in proportion. And it also surprised me. But it's true, like there's a lot of whiskey, people drink whiskey. They also started drinking Fernet a lot. That it's something that it's from Argentina, like mainly, and it's also very tasty. And they say it doesn't makes you hungover. They say.
Do you guys know? Do you guys know that what is the number one selling type of alcohol in the world?
Beer.
No, I mean like hard liquor.
Oh.
Like vodka?
Like vodka. It's not vodka, but like vodka. I just read this like a week ago.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that the three of you won't know it. It's soji.
Soji.
What is
It's
it?
soju.
Sojo. And I also read that 4 out of the 5 top alcohol brands in the world are sojo. And
soju is a type of alcohol.
Well, let's
Or it's
have
like a brand.
explain what that is.
I wish I were a Korean so I can give you better knowledge on here. But like basically soju is something I think unique to Korea, and people drink it because first of all it's very cheap. Like sometimes it's cheaper than bottled water, and there is no differentiation between brands. So that's why you see tons of like marketing campaign. That happens when you cannot differentiate between the taste and the texture of it. It's just kind of like it's like vodka. Slightly, I would say it has more a bit aftertaste, and actually it fucks you up even worse than vodka the day after. And it's actually not that tasty. I think it's more like a social drink in Korea, like when they go to eat in a Korean restaurant, whether it's barbecue and other cuisine, people can drink that. And that's why, I would say I'm sorry, Korea, but I feel like that's not the best choice in terms of alcoholic, beverage. I wish they could, have more choices, but, that's what I like, and I'm nowhere to judge.
Well, if we have any Korean listeners, you link us the names of the soju brands that you like.
You're welcome to send hate comment, because I don't understand.
But
the
is
culture.
it a big thing? Because I think that soju is such a huge brand, or it sells so much, not because of the people in Korea, even though I guess they drink it more than any other brand, but because I read it's really popular in China.
We have something similar, but I think it's not really soju, even though from Westerners' perspective, it probably is the same because it's also transparent. It's very strong and spicy. In China, we call it baijiu, which means, literally, it means white alcohol or white liquor. It's usually for the older generation. I would say you probably won't find young people just going out for fun and order themselves baijiu because that's considered a little bit, not that fun and trendy. Young people, they drink mostly beer, mostly Chinese beer, and also wine is not that common in restaurants that are not Western restaurant or fancy fine dining. And I would say, and also drinking is not really a part of the young people leisure culture in China. Let's say when I was doing my undergraduate in China for 4 years, I don't remember that we actually suggested let's go to a bar, let's have fun. We don't. It's not common as in here. When we go out, we go to karaoke, we go to eat, and beer is probably, one person will have a cup of beer and that's it.
That is super interesting.
Yeah, that's probably more a sign of adulthood that you want to drink to prove something, but not really. People don't really enjoy it that much.
So there's public intoxication that doesn't happen that much.
So it happens, on a lot of the business dinner, in China it's also a thing that, you invite your business partner, or, it can be a night out in your department that people just go out to drink. And during that time, you do have a purpose of get drunk or make other people drunk, because it's sort of it shows that you can make people listen to you, that the person is submissive by listening to others drinking others. I don't find that very healthy, but it's still unfortunately exist, but for the young people, I think we're getting rid of that part for sure.
And what is baijiu? What is that made of?
That's I think grains. So it can be different kind of. It can be rice. It can be wheat or anything that's in between. But it's usually the color is it doesn't have a color. It's a see-through and spicy. And so that's why young people probably don't want to appreciate that taste, because we like something sweeter and more fun.
All right, so we said we'll talk about a little bit. Let's call it party drinking culture. All right, I mean you guys lived in Israel, so you know how in Israel, I guess the popular brands are Arak, which is kind of a grape distilled drink.
It tastes like sambuca.
It's very similar to sambuca. Yeah, I think it has anise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And also everything that's cheap, like vodka, beer, vodka, Red Bull, all of that.
Yeah.
And okay, so how about? I guess we got it from the U.S. If anything,
Got Arak from the U.S.?
Not Arak, but the kind of drinking culture, like vodka and maybe even whiskey and beer and cocktails. Most of our cocktails.
Just taking a certain alcohol and just mixing it with a juice.
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes, exactly. Everything you call a cocktail is basically just distilled heavy spirit with some kind of juice.
Sure.
Well, in Italy, everything starts from the aperitivo, as I said. So at 6, people start to drink. They meet, and with some chips, we try to keep the level of alcohol really low to arrive at the end of the evening. And then we mix with wine, red, white, rosé, everything. It's okay.
What is the drinking age in Italy? Legally.
Be 18, but
and it's not enforced. So they won't card you if you go to a place and.
Well, the disco, the clubs, actually they are not allowed to sell alcohol after 2 a.m. And in any case, under 18, they are not allowed in any case. But after 2, I think for everyone is not allowed to drink.
After 2 a.m. 2
a.m.
2 a.m. And you just buy it anywhere in the supermarket, or you need a special license, like a liquor store?
No, you need in the supermarket. They check, and in any case, in Italy, there are not AM PM like in Israel, so you need to buy in advance. Or in the clubs or in the bars where you can drink your cocktail.
And in Uruguay, what's the legal drinking age?
Legal drinking, it's 18, but people start drinking at when they are 13, 14.
And you don't get card when you buy the alcohol.
What you mean?
Like they check for your ID.
It depends. They should. In many places they do, but you have these two places that are like in a zone where there's a lot of young people that they sell you even after 12. After 12. Before 12 you can buy, but then you can't. But these places, I don't know why.
So
I don't know what happened.
The locals know where they can get alcohol
Exactly.
even after.
So you're gonna see full of teenagers buying there, and then you're gonna see the same teenagers walking like this in the street and their friends and fighting or something like that. It's not that they are wild; they are just drunk and young.
And how about China? Is it?
I actually don't know if we have a legal drinking age, so that already says a lot of things. And also we don't have any enforcement if we do. And I think actually I've never have any chance to see that someone checks your ID in China because there's no such age. So if you want, you can start drinking as young as you want, which I discourage.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, guys, that's super interesting. And we're now going to go into our rapid fire question segment. I'm going to ask a question and then you just answer as fast as you can with the first thing that comes in mind. You have not prepared for this. So we'll just go Noah, Sarah, Chiaretta, and Sebastian. All right. And of course, you answer according to where you're from, right?
Okay.
All right. So let's go with Noah, your favorite slang word in your language.
Oof, I don't know. Wow. My mind is blank. Okay, I have a good one. 还行, which means it's okay. Which was funny because we had a story actually. I talked to a British girl at work, and she was one day she asked someone who went to a wedding, which was a wonderful wedding. I was also there. It was really amazing. And she asked an Israeli and asked how was the wedding? She said the wedding's fine. And she was shocked. She was like, wow, what happened? Because in her mind, the fine is actually a negative word. It should be fantastic. It should be a fabulous. It shouldn't be fine. I was like, maybe it's a cultural thing because in China, when you ask people, how are you? You're supposed to say, I'm doing okay, not bad, which means it's good.
Uh-huh.
So it probably means that, in China, if you answer this question with, I'm doing wonderful, people think you're a lunatic.
You either won the lottery
or you are drunk or anything. So,
So how-
还行, which is
还行.
yeah, which is fine with everything. Yeah, we're doing okay.
All right, Sarah?
Yes. Oh, slang word. It's hard. I haven't been there in so long.
Maybe something like specifically New York-ish.
New York.
What are you gonna-
Well, the new one is spill the tea. Well, it's
Ooh.
like a phrase, and it means what's the 411? What's the latest information? This is brand new, but I really like it. And it's spill the tea, spill the gossip kind of thing. So this is a good one. And it's drinking culture.
It is. Wow, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
All right. Chiaretta?
I would say merda. But
Well, everybody
We know
everybody
this.
know this.
since I'm here and everyone is they know the word vaffanculo. And
Yes.
it's how is it possible?
What
so
is
I,
Vaffanculo.
it's better not to
Yeah,
translate, please. I
Google
will
it
tell you
later.
after.
All right. And
The word that I like it's bo.
bo.
B-O. It's when you want to call somebody, you say bo. Bo, Urice, venga pa acá. Bo, guys, come here.
That's so weird.
It's-
And it has
it's
nothing to do
strange.
with bo in Hebrew, which means to come.
Exactly. Right?
That's really weird.
So I walk here.
אני חושבת.
Yeah.
I walk here and I listen a lot of people in Israel saying bo, 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 and I'm like, Uruguay, but it's not. It's come.
I love these coincidences. Like in Spanish, you say 10, but in Hebrew, you say 10, it means give it to me, and if you say 10, you give it to you.
Okay.
All right. Second question. I'll answer for Israel. My favorite slang word. It's not slang, but I use it as if it were slang. It's nevela. You know that word? It means rotting animal corpse.
Oui.
And it's like when something is depressing or someone's you're dissatisfied with someone. You say nevela. At least that's me personally. All right, let's go with your favorite local fiction writer.
Is also my turn first.
Yeah.
Always like this. This is quite unfair.
You know what? Let's shake it up.
Fiction
Yeah.
writer.
Favorite Uruguayan writer?
Yes. I don't know if it's fiction, but Eduardo Galeano.
Galeano.
He
All right.
writes like nice thing. He was a very good writer in Uruguay, very famous, and he was known also for being in cafes a lot.
And is it like, what's the genre? Detective? Or?
The truth is that I don't remember. Like, but he was very very important. I think he did one that it's El Sapo Ruperto. It's like Rupert the frog. I remember it was him. I feel embarrassed, but I don't mind.
All right, we'll look it up later.
Yes.
All right.
I would say Federico Moccia, but I think a lot of people will make fun of me.
Why is that?
Because it's for young people. He is writing stories. And
It's like
books for a teenager. And
well,
love
that's not bad,
stories.
young adult.
But I will hear what they say.
All right. Sarah, I'm gonna challenge you.
Okay.
They have to be from New York or the American Northeast.
This is unfair. I was going to say I have so many to choose from.
I knew
America.
That's what I said.
I don't know where he's from, but I want to say Dave Eggers. Do you know who that is?
I don't know.
He writes, I think he's a fictional author, and he wrote several books that I love, but he also wrote for The New Yorker, so I feel like that could be that he's from New York.
You get a pass. Yeah,
Thank
if you wrote
you.
for the New Yorker. All right. No, you had time to think.
Yeah, so my turn. Actually, I thought about like really early on. So it's actually, I have two choices. One is actually the only Nobel literature winner in China. It's called Mo Yan. But he writes something like really dark and serious. I don't think that's appeal for, like most people who just want to have fun reading. The second name is called Liu Cixin. So Cixin is first name, Liu is the last name. He mainly writes sci-fi, and his most well-known work is called Three Body. He got recognition because he won 2 years ago, like the most important sci-fi award you can win. It's called like the Hugo International Sci-Fi Award, and also like his work has been adapted into like films, into drama. Also, there was one that came out like last year. This year during the New Year time. It's called The Wandering Earth. It actually is available on Netflix. I just watched it the past
A
weekend.
Wonderful Earth?
The Wandering Earth. The Wandering Earth. It was. I don't want to spoil anything. It's it's
we'll try
movie.
to add some links maybe in the comments and,
sure.
make sure
if
people
anyone's
can.
interested, you can go to Netflix.
All right. I'm at the sound. I'm gonna say at the sound of sounding very very basic that my pick is Gabi Nitzan, which wrote. I don't even think he wrote like more than 3 or 4 books, but at least the ones I read were kind of good. All right, and I'm gonna brush it off to the next question. All right, let's most internationally unusual, but locally kind of ubiquitous pizza topping.
This is unfair. We don't eat pizza in China as our local food.
But when you find pizza, okay, you've all
International unusual.
that for you it's a kind of a trick question. I
Is
know.
it unusual or usual?
Okay, I'll ask you this. You came to Israel.
Weird.
You all live in
Oh,
Israel.
weird.
What is the weirdest thing you've seen on a pizza? And I'm not talking like somebody you know made a pizza and put like avocado and eggplant and pineapple, everything all together. I'm talking like you went to a pizza place and you noticed that there is some pizza topping that is kind of common in Israel, but very, very unusual.
I actually never noticed. What is that?
I don't know. I would say tuna. I haven't seen tuna.
Tuna's not in America you wouldn't find it ever. But maybe in Italy you might find it. Yeah.
The judge says it's okay.
It's okay. It's something else.
I would never.
I
would
have
never
a good
eat it.
answer. I have a good answer. I think it's not really traditional pizza. It's more like a dessert. Durian.
Dorian.
Yes.
Oh, the fruit with the you guys know what that is?
That
Oh
fruit
my god.
stinks so bad that actually it's tasty. If you have never tried it, I highly recommend. They put it in a lot of dessert in China. Actually, it became trendy. It's actually pretty pricey.
And they
because-
put it on a pizza.
Yeah, they have pizza.
Amazing.
It's
I
like
think
pineapple pizza. That's
No,
the
it's-
weirdest thing to me
yeah,
that
okay.
I don't understand that Americans eat or anyone can eat
In
it.
Uruguay, you have pineapple and tuna and everything, but I don't like eating with pineapple. It's just so strange.
It's not right.
But what I used to do in Uruguay, so you have the circle pizza, and Uruguay you have like a
Square.
square one. and it's very tasty. And I used to put like mustard, mayonnaise, ketchup, barbecue, and everything. You know, so I do different mix of sauces, and it was very
Would you, Chica, would you call that a pizza?
Oh my God, no.
But I'll tell you, the weirdest thing I've ever seen on a pizza was actually in Italy. It was goat cheese and pear.
Oh no, this is normal. This
That is normal?
Yes.
This is normal.
I would eat it also. It's normal.
Or pear and gorgonzola.
Gorgonzola. Okay.
It's fancy. It's sophisticated.
So what would you consider like an off the charts pizza?
Pineapple.
Pineapple.
I'm sorry. When Americans are coming, and I was working in a pizzeria for a long time, and they were ordering pizza with pineapple, it was like, oh my God, my heart was like.
Is it really from Hawaii? Like they call it Hawaiian?
Yeah, they call it Hawaiiana.
Or maybe ketchup.
No, this is disgusting. Yeah.
All right.
Ruins it.
All right, guys. Well, that's all the time we have for today. And I want to thank my amazing guests. You guys did a great job. Thank you so much. Of course, there's a lot we didn't cover, but there's something for you, the listeners. If you'd like to know something, or better yet, tell us something about where you're from or where you live, we'd like to hear from you. So look for the comment section on any social media, and look us up on Facebook and Twitter. And we want to hear what you guys think about the podcast, and what kind of topics you want to hear, what kind of guests you want us to have, what interests you, all these things. So please consider liking us, sharing, subscribing, giving us some love on social media, and we will love you back unconditionally anyway. And also, if you're currently living in Israel and you want to be a guest, so please send us an email on crossingculturespodcast@gmail.com. And thank you very much, and see you next time.